So, good morning, guys. For those who are new here, uh, I'm Langstrom, and I always start my analysis with fundamental analysis. So, just to contextualize what the candles are telling us, and for context, I haven't seen the charts right now. It is market open, so let's try to get through this fairly quickly. Hey, Shell, welcome. Fear and Greed Index, we increased by 5 points compared to yesterday. So we were at 14 yesterday, we're at 19. So some confidence is coming back. Technically still an extreme fear, but we are straddling that line into fear. The last time we went into fear, we immediately plunged back down, which does give me a little cause for concern. That being said, if we look at the exchange liquidation levels, so this tells you the clusters of leverage, and moving into these clusters will liquidate a lot of players. So we can see that we are sort of in that crossroad between um, long clusters and short clusters, with the cumulative liquidations to the upside outweighing the downside. Now, if I refresh this, oh, come on, not did I not log in? Hold on, give me 1 sec, guys. Pretty sure I logged in. Bummer. Okay, let's just quickly log in so it doesn't bite us. I was logged in, I swear. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's go back here. Perfect. Okay, so let's move to the 7 day, see what's happening. Now, the 7 day is cause for concern, right? If any of you are holding spot bags, there's more liquidity to the downside on the 7 day compared to the upside. I believe it's the same, yeah, on the 30 day as well. On the 90 day, you're about the same. So long term, this all it's telling us is there's going to be volatility. Short term, like the immediate short term, there is a bias to go to the upside, but it's not a big bias. And then midterm, probably looking at maybe a dump going into the weekend. Looking at the RSI heat map, this was further below or further down at like smack dab neutral, but we are getting up, right? We have some coins here on the 4 hour that's overbought: Hype, Tau, Aster, BNB. They're sort of in that region, and we just got a refresh. Virtual are coins we should definitely look at in the stream today. AVAX as well. 12 hour is closer to what we saw yesterday on the 4 hour, 24 hour, and I believe the 1 week. Okay, so 1 week still weak, right? But the 24 hour is in that middle zone, so it's sort of deciding. So the 1 week bias does say we want to push up, with the 24 hour deciding for us. Short-term time frames indicating we potentially want downside. Now, looking at our liquidation heat map, we can see that there's a hotspot at about 71,000. Let me refresh this, see if we got up-to-date information. Looks like there's been a pump. So 71,000 seems to be the target. So I will be looking at 72,000 thereabouts to potentially do a scalp short, because there is a cluster of liquidity down at 68,000 going into the 1 week. Yeah, there's a lot of clusters, both to the upside and to the downside. So that really just tells me there's going to be quite the volatility for this month. Now, for those who have been here for the past streams, I have said that I do want to basically exit any long positions by the end of March, start of April, because not only due to historical data, but um, the economic data that will appear in March, because that will account for, or no, sorry, in April, because that will reflect what happened in March. But yeah, looking at our charts right now, I don't know why some indicators are not appearing. So let's refresh that. So market open 5 minutes. Uh, you are getting a bullish cross potentially on your reactors, which is nice, right? But we do want to see some sort of close above this resistance that we've just been in. So if I plot this here, this whole area technically is not only just resistance, but it is a pain zone. So what is a pain zone? A pain zone is essentially an area in which you fooled both buyers and sellers, and now there are sellers. Oh no, there are buyers trapped in this area right here, right? these people went long here thinking it would push up, but it pushed down, and they're basically waiting for the position to come back, or price action to come back within this range so that they can possibly get out or you know continue with their targets. Now I did mention, or I did draw this last night with chart hackers, uh, that I do think we are going to get to this FVG right here at about 74,300 thereabouts. I do think it's possible we get that tonight, or rather this morning, depending on where you guys are from. At least for me, it is currently 9:30 p.m. So forgive the tonight remark, but yeah, we are still facing this resistance right here, but we do have bullish butt cheeks right now. So you can see that here on the 4 hour, we've got one butt cheek and then a second butt cheek. So typically, when you get bullish butt cheeks, right, the likelihood of you pushing to the upside is going to be really high because of the flatulent force. Notice that our CPO plus has also begun changing colors, right? Money flow is positive. Volume is a little bearish. We don't necessarily like that, but in terms of direction and money flow, you're pretty good. Momentum, though appearing bearish initially, is pointed up and does appear like it wants to twist back into blue. So I do think, again, this is a fairly decent place for us to reasonably suspect where it's going to go, and I would suspect that this place will act as a very strong resistance for us. Notice that here on the 4 hour, we did get that cross as well, bullish cross, and we've just been finding support along the dynamic reactor. Now, of course, it would be much stronger if our quantum reactor also changes colors, but at the moment, it doesn't seem like that's the case here on the 4 hour. So that's Bitcoin. I think it would be prudent to set up or look for positions or trades a little bit later. Let the market do its thing for the first 30 minutes and then come back for it. Hey, little fish. Good morning. Oh, I didn't notice you were there. Yeah, good morning. Man, you I don't know if you missed the double butt cheek analysis, but here it is. Bullish butt cheeks right there. Okay, let's go to Ethereum. Yeah. No, I don't know if you're in chart hackers, but Piper and OC, they're just on board with the bullish butt cheeks. With the bullish and inverted butt cheeks now. Yeah, on board with it. Absolutely wrecking it. So yeah. Let's look here for Ethereum. Now, we are in this rising wedge on the 4 hour, which is not great, especially when you couple it with the fact that, you did have such a long downside. Now, rising wedges do tend to break down, with the top portion here actually being very strong resistance. We can see that it's the previous week high, resistance, and an upper trend line. Yeah. Oh, cool. You missed it. Yesterday's? Is yesterday the right term? Well, for me, it was the same day. It was like 3 a.m. this morning for me. Yeah, crazy. So, yeah, I took a little nap in between, like 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. That was fun. But yeah, so very fun. Let's see what we're looking at for Ethereum. So I'd set an alert just right at 2,184 thereabouts. And the reason why is this area right here would be a very good place to potentially take a scalp, or maybe a swing short, right? Something like this does make sense to me. Because if you get moves like this and you fail to break above this, then you get rejected. And you can probably plot it up against this area right here, maybe even lower. Back to the point of interest, maybe. Or, that could be your final capitulation back down to retest some levels. Looking at Solana, and again, Solana has that negative 75 projection, which is really funny. So we're technically back into this descending channel that we drew. And it's sort of why I've lost confidence with Solana a little bit over sort of the course of how we've been moving in the market. Not only because it's not it hasn't shared a very similar structure. So if we go to the 4 hour here on the left side, right, and we zoom out, right, this is fairly within. Actually, you can probably say that this is a box, right? And let me just lengthen this. You could say that this is literally just a box. That is a box right there. Whereas with Bitcoin, there is a little bit more. How do I say this? There's like a dynamic nature to it. So, ooh, why is this 2 hour? Let's go 4 hour. Yes, it's sort of in a box, but then you see how that descending channel, you it's much clearer. You did break out. You got a retest, and now you've broken out again, or you've broken to the upside, and so Bitcoin to me appears more dynamic than the likes of Ethereum and Solana, which is why I've just been focusing primarily on Bitcoin. But something we did notice earlier when we were checking out the fundamental analysis is that certain coins such as Hype appear pretty overbought. And I've been getting alerts for the likes of Aave and what was the other one? In any case, let's just look at Hype first. Because we did see that it was overbought, so it would be pretty decent to maybe look for an opportunity there. Okay, so hyper liquid. It's very liquid. So this is fairly bullish, all things considered, here on the 1 hour. Let's try to do 12 hour. I kind of want to look for a swing on this, and then we can look for a scalp on the likes of Bitcoin, right? So pretty decent performance, all things considered. It filled out actually more than 100% of that wick. It filled it out completely, right? And then broke out. It's going for that measured move, and I want to set an alert there just to see how it does, because we are getting some weakness here on the 1 hour, right? You got your peak sell, peak top, bearish div, reversal triangle, and it's just weakening over time. We can also see that the fluid zero line, basically an average we can use to determine support and resistance for our momentum, is starting to head up from the actual zero line, and that difference matters, because the closer it is to the ribbon and the closer it is to the upper extremity, the more likely it is for momentum to capitulate's not the right term, but it's more likely for momentum to fall and stay bearish for longer. It's what we saw, or that's what we were able to observe here on the 1 week for Bitcoin, right? It's been on this long trend to the upside, but at some point, even if it's fallen, at this point, it sort of just gave out, and we got that capitulation. So let's go back to Bitcoin, see what it's doing. So it's fallen sub 70K again, right? It looks like it's sort of invalidating our cross from earlier. Ooh, it might even fall back to the trend line. Yeah, we've just been following this trend line. I've been wanting to see if we can get some sort of bounce back here, but so far all of those attempts have not been that great. So the 5 minutes is capitulating a little bit. Nothing too crazy. I mean, over the course of the day we revisited 69K, but we didn't really fall below it, I don't think. Oh no, we did 68 a couple, like, start of the, I don't know, a few hours ago. But yeah, let's see what happens here. And this is also why you don't want to open trades within the first 30 minutes of market open. Let's see. Oh, hey, Crypto Ben, Shay, Chani, welcome. Welcome to the show. And by the way, if you guys have any questions or coins or assets you want me to look at, just let me know. I promise I'm not going to bite. And yeah, don't be shy. Let's look at gold while waiting to potentially scalp Bitcoin. Very similar so far. Now, I did encircle this hidden bullish divergence yesterday, right? it did have some sort of a trend shift according to our diamond. So looking at this, you would think that initially, right, you got your first butt cheek right over here, potentially a second butt cheek, but it's sort of failing a little bit. It sort of shifted the trend, and that's highlighted by this diamond shift here on the 1 hour. Now, what I'm looking for potentially is if gold can invalidate or engulf the previous candle, right, and head back to this line above premium. If it can do that, then we can expect some sort of push with gold, breaking all time highs and setting a new all time high back to the upper extremity. Oh, yeah, yeah, right here. This is the gooseneck. Yeah. But until then, it doesn't seem that likely that we're going to get that, right? We need confirmation that we can do this, since the 1 day is not really giving us any clear idea other than the fact that there is bullish diff. Now, outflow did increase significantly, and that could be contributing to why gold hasn't really pushed back up. Let's look at silver. Silver's kind of holding on, actually. I keep it at 12 hours instead of 1 day just because. Actually, you know what? Maybe we can do 1 day. Let's do 1 day. Just shrink it by half. Yeah, I mean, you got your 200. Okay, yeah. 1 day's fine. So we're consistent. Right, I mean, it's a very similar ordeal with gold, right? You technically got your first butt cheek. This could have been a higher butt cheek, but it's sort of capitulating, right? Gooseneck again on the 1 hour. It's just not ideal, in my opinion, unless we can get some sort of engulfing green candle. So I'm gonna leave the precious metals out for now. Um, I'm gonna leave precious metals out of it for now, and we can look at. Let's see what other coins was suggested earlier. So Hyperliquid is overbought. Render could be something to look at. Let's look at Render. Render. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, technically this is an Adam and Eve, right? Or you can also say that it's bullish butt cheeks, and then you just have one sharp butt cheek. But no, let's use the proper terms here. Uh, okay, so 12-hour render is overbought. Interesting, and I think that's fairly decent. I mean, looking at this on the 12-hour, right? I do see a good move that happened here. Right, still bullish butt cheeks, still that flatulent force push. Okay, that's a nose. Oh, it's an eye now. It's a face. Okay, let's draw. Art. This right here is an NFT. Yeah. Okay, let's get serious. So, render almost touched that smart target, right? I kind of want to put render on my radar now. I'm sending alerts. I want to see a little bit of a push higher before doing any sort of short. But I do want to short render because it does seem a little bit. Oh no, actually, the 1 day does appear like it still wants upside. So this area right here would be more appropriate for some kind of short swing. So I'll set alerts again, see what happens. You could get, because right, this is sort of the resistance that you're trying to flip into support. So you could get a retest here. We could do something like a long at this FVG. It might just wick, then head up, right, continue its move to the upside, could be something. So I'll set an alert, maybe revisit it at the end of the stream or whenever that alert pops up. And yeah, I think this could be fairly decent. So I'll set an alert right at that support, right at the neckline, and then right here at this FVG. Point of interest is over here, and there's a support right there. So this area right here looks pretty good for potential long. Right there. Yeah. There you go. Let's go back to Bitcoin, see how it's doing. Oh, good question. Yeah, I use both. So, dynamic reactor, as the name suggests, it's dynamic. So, the calculation for the dynamic reactor differs from chart to chart, but what we can see, and what I'll do is I'll first turn off the quantum reactor so we can see it better. Actually, you know what? Let's do four. No, unnamed. Okay, you know what? Let's go back to the 4-hour. Turn off quantum reactor. That's Oracle Pro. Oh yeah, that's right. Turn off quantum reactor. So as the name suggests, it's dynamic, right? Okay. What we can see is that every time you get above it, it shifts color. Fun. Every time you revisit it, it's probably a good time to take profits. So for example, if you took a long right here, you moved up, you saw this candle, you're not sure, you can probably take profits here. Now, of course, that's not a lot of reward, but the point is it could have broken through. Now, of course, you use it in conjunction with your oscillator to know if it could potentially break past it, but if you stayed, you would have been able to see that it bounced off the reactor again, so you could see a potential move to the upside. So the dynamic reactor is a great place to take profits. It's also a decent or potential place for a bounce. And hold on. Excuse me. All right. So, but what is sort of the limitation for me? So the dynamic reactor doesn't really have a filter, right? It tells you sort of the trend, right? Bullish trend, bearish trend. Fine. But it doesn't really have a filter, and it's rather quick. It likes to stay close to price action. So if I had to describe it, it's something like a nice fitted moving average that stays fairly close to price and also tells you sort of the trend. It's not just a VWAP where, you know, the framework is that if you're below the VWAP, then you're below the average price, the true average price. You're above, then you're above the true average price. Right? You can be above the dynamic reactor or break above it, but not really be bullish, right? And you can see that it sort of adds a bigger range for what to expect in terms of rejections rather than VWAP, which is just a single line. So what I like to couple that with is your quantum reactor. Now the quantum reactor, I set to slow so that it becomes sort of a long-term moving average. Think your 200 MA. The quantum reactor is slightly different from the dynamic reactor in the sense that it doesn't immediately change colors when either side of it gets violated. For example, at this point, right, you closed above the dynamic reactor, it turned green, correct? Turned green. You also broke above the quantum reactor at this point, but it hasn't really changed color. That's important because it tells you whether or not a move might be real. So for example, over here, you got constant retests, but your quantum reactor turned green. You also got multiple signals from market dynamics and quantum signaling that there's a good chance of a move to the upside, right? Same thing here. You touch this, but notice that your quantum reactor is still green. Now, look what happens when you get sort of a cross, right? It's almost perfect. So this area right here tells you that, okay, you got a cross on your reactors, and now you're going to capitulate. Another important thing at this point, right, is, or to illustrate how that might differ from your typical moving averages, let me just get moving average ribbon. So there's still 2 minutes before we make a decide on a potential position. So here we go. Moving average ribbon. Let me turn off quite a few things so that we can see it better. Let's just do that. Okay. Then let's. Oh no, let's keep the 200 open. Do 50, and then let's make these lines pretty fat so we can see them better. And let's change. Yeah, and then let's turn this off. So notice that the cross of these guys, so when you're 50 crossed below your 200, which is how a lot of traders, even myself when I was starting out, um, knew that the trend changed, right? So let's mark the cross where it happened, and then let's look at where it happened for the market oracle. So it saves you quite a little bit of time, right? The cross happened here. So this is the 4R chart. And you can see that it technically saved you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 20 hours, a whole day before you got a confirmed cross using just your regular moving averages. So that informs you ahead of time. It gives you a better chance of positioning better. And you can see that, relatively speaking, a nice rejection there, pretty accurate. Right? Whereas this one, you kind of got in between them, right? It's not really great. Where to find those reactors? So, okay, you have plus, perfect. So just go to your indicators, type market Oracle Pro, right? And when you have it booted up, go to your settings. It's right here, reactor settings. And yeah, these are my settings. And if you ever get lost on it, this live is recorded. I'll be posting it as soon as I can because I do have to minimize the file size for YouTube. But other than that, take a screenshot of my reactor settings because I do find them pretty useful, and I hope you do too. Yeah, I hope that answers your question too, McLeap. You're perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. Do you never use trendy? Oh, no, I don't. Huh, that's weird. But you have the the plus subscription, right? The reason I don't use trendy is just because uh I'm not I get a little bit confused with the signal sometimes. Uh and after experimentation I found that sort of the kit that I have going on for me right now has been the most efficient. But if it works for you, then use it, right? That's the beauty of trading. We get to pick and choose what works for our style, what works for with our toolkit, and we don't really have to have everything on. It's what separates you from every other trader. So my style of trading is going to be different from Runaire's. It's going to be different from OC, even down to the indicators that we use. I know a couple people use other stuff, but what's great is it's all here with ChartBrand. Huh. Yeah. Okay. I think you have to ask. I think you're gonna need to ask support to grant you access to the plus version. Because if you're plus, you should have the plus version. Yeah. So. Oh sure, no problem. Yeah. Let me just grab this. There, Oracle Pro Plus. These are my settings. Okay, no problem. Wait, but how do you have the plus tag if you're not Pro Plus? Or if you don't have the plus subscription? Ah, I see. Okay. Well, Okay, let's go back and then let's get our let's do 1 hour for a proper scalping time frame. Okay, let's go back. So I mean, there's clearly a point that we have to break here on the 1 hour, right? And what's funny is if we look, I drew this. I'm not drew is not the right term. I plotted these lines of support. Let's turn off all the indicators first because it gets a little messy. So these lines right here, right? Let me hide this really quickly. So these sort of cream colored lines, I plotted these based on the peaks from when we got that quick V-shaped recovery from that crash, as well as this top portion here with that fairly long wick. And notice that right now it's surprisingly indicating our relative neckline for our bullish butt cheek, but also the top part of the pattern itself. So that tells me quite a few things, right? This area right here is going to be it's not even going to be, it's incredible resistance, right? And there was a point that we got above it, but we failed to stay above the top line. So this whole time it's really just going to be a fight to get here and try to stay above this line, which is why I also want that 74,000 move. If I remove this, why I want that 74,000 move, because that lets us get to this point, retest back into the support line, and possibly get that bounce. So let me just refresh this. Yeah, there we go. We got our trend line back. Yeah. Okay. So this is new. So it's in a symmetrical triangle. I realize it's getting a little difficult to read, so I might turn off a couple things. Turn off. Oh no, we kind of need that. Yeah, we can just turn on market dynamics as we go, right? But what I'm looking for is essentially a nice close, right? A nice close here on. We might not get that close because of the end of the stream, so we might want to look for a scalp. But we do have that long from back then at 62k, which is still printing. That's great. What I want to see is a potential long that we can do. Given the volatility, it might be prudent to set it at equilibrium, right? So for those who are new, I like to sort of distinguish my ideas from endorsements. So right now this is an idea. I'm not saying let's hop in. I'm not in this trade. I'm just plotting what I think could happen, right? And then an endorsement is I'm going into the trade with you guys, and yeah, I got skin in the game. So right now this is just an idea. I'm sort of looking for. Oh, we might have a gooseneck on our hands. Because this right here is kind of a no trade, right? I don't want to be setting a position mid-move, especially when you've got a transition in color and a potential gooseneck. At this point, this isn't even a goose. It's like, I don't know, a dodo bird? Because it's got 3 different colors? It's probably a dodo bird. Let's call it a dodo bird. Yeah. Alright. Okay. So for now, I'll let Bitcoin be. We have some positions on it, so let's look at potential or other potential things we can do with other coins. So for example, like shorting render could be something we can do. So 5 minutes on render does look like it's going oversold, but the 1 hour does want some downside. We could also take that long, like I said here on the 1 hour. And that would place you at around this region, so about that prime block, right? Or back to the point of control. Let's remove the circle because it's a little too big here on the 5 minutes. Ooh. I kind of want to short render actually. So what I'm looking for is maybe a bounce off of this, back into the point of interest, and then capitulate down to the FEG. Something like this, I think, would play out pretty well. So just as an idea, I'm going to place a short projection right here, stop loss right above premium, take profit at the top of the point of interest or even at the FEG. That would make sense to me. Something like this I think would pan out pretty well. Just raise it a little bit, you know, accounting for volatility. Yeah, 1 to 2 risk to reward. So I think that's what we're looking for today, like the potential thing we can do. Now it's invalid if it goes there before. Actually, let's just wait for it. I'll leave it there for now and then set an alert. So again, what I'm looking for, we did touch this, but I want a nice clean move on the oscillator to also head up. Right, it hasn't really done that. It's still in the motions of going down. So I'm not sure if this is the smartest idea, but it is founded on the idea that we do want to capitulate based on the 1 hour, right? Even at this point, you still got that move to the downside, and I think we're going to have a very similar move overall. So yeah, got the alerts on render. Let's hope that we get those alerts within the stream. If not, you know, I'll just announce it and you guys will see. Hey girl, welcome. Thanks for dropping by. I'm good. How about you? It's only been like, what, 12 hours? No. It's only been a couple hours since we last saw. Excuse me. Okay, let's look at. By the way, if anyone has any questions with coins or assets they want me to look at, just let me know. I would love to analyze with you guys. So let's look at the current RSI heat maps. I'm just pulling it out so I can see what to maybe look for. Ooh, Trump is oversold, but I don't know if it's a good coin to do anything with at the moment. Tau and Near Protocol, AVAX. Yeah, Tau and Near Protocol seem interesting. I don't want to touch stuff like Siren. Might not be a great idea. But yeah. Okay. Let's look at Near Protocol. Deep and Zama. Alright, let's have a look at them. Just quickly look at Near Protocol while we're at it. You are getting a bullish cross. Do want downside. Let's zoom out. 4 hour. Ooh. Yeah. Damn. Retested that thing. You bounced off of it. Set an alert here. Potential short at premium. This could build out into. Actually, could also be here. This could build out to double butt cheek. Bullish butt cheek our way through. Okay. Yeah. Like I promised, deep. Okay. Bluefin. Ooh. Gee, let's see how much history this coin has. Okay, it's got quite a history. So this is the October dump, and it closed below it. Filled it out 100%, right? Then where is the February move? Okay, so this is the February move right here. Okay, I see what we're working with. Might be better to actually for our 1 day. Now, what is interesting with Deep, right, is that there's a ton of money flowing into Deep right now. It is overbought, but it appears as though you guys want or it wants to overextend itself a little more. What I'm looking for here on Deep is where could be a point of rejection because we did get that change of character here on the 1 week. Not confirmed yet, right? It could capitulate back down and it wouldn't be a successful change of character. It'll leave a wick that's pretty bearish. But based on what I'm seeing with momentum, and it's also why I wanted to look at the 1 day, momentum says it's likely going to continue its move to the upside. So move to equilibrium makes a lot of sense to me, and a move to the 618 also makes a lot of sense to me. Granted, now that you've got your bullish butt cheek, what we're probably looking for is some sort of retest of maybe this line right here. So equilibrium 618 would be an interesting place to get that retest and then a push up to the dynamic reactor or even to this bearish order block, bearish prime block with bullish delta. So I'd set alerts. If you're holding Deep, I think you should continue holding on to it. Don't let it go just yet. But do take profits at equilibrium here on the 1 day. So that's going to be 0.0397 and somewhere near the 618 because you can easily get rejected at those points. And then I would probably take it all out at 0.458. Not financial advice, but that's what I would do personally if I was holding any coins of Deep, because again, I do foresee a further move to the downside for Bitcoin back to this area of about 51,000 ish. So yeah, Deep looks good. Yeah, Deep looks good. I think it continues a move to the upside for now. Let's look at Zama. Ooh. What exchange do you use? ZoomX, Bybit, OKX, Chani? So it's a little bit more accurate for your context. Hey Maxi, welcome. Lazy Investor, thank you for dropping by. Yeah, thank you guys. Ooh, okay, Render is crossing something. So while Chani's still responding, let's go back to Render. That's not how you spell Render. Ooh. Why does my back hurt? I'm only 21. Ow! Ow. Okay. Okay, what are we looking for here? Yeah, we should probably zoom in. I was like, oh, what am I looking at? Okay, so we are getting that move, right? This tells me, though, that going short at this moment is not the smartest idea, so I think we should cancel that idea for now. If the 5 minutes gonna continue, or this could be it, but I don't think so because there's still move or room to extend on the 5 minutes, right? And here on the 1 hour, it wouldn't violate anything, so I think it would probably be prudent to just wait it out. And maybe I shouldn't have deleted the idea because I could have just placed the idea like right over here. Right, I could just place that idea right there. That would have been smart. Oops. But yeah. Set an alert again. Set the alert and then let's see if it can get above this node. And yeah, so just an idea, not an endorsement. So we're just waiting for this to maybe revisit the zero line, right? If it capitulates, it's great. If not, that's not great. But I do want to short Render, given that compared to the rest of the market, it is on the overbought side with our uh, market RSI. Ooh, this could be something. Actually, let's look at USDT dominant. Did something change? Oh, there's just an FEG that formed. Okay. Oh, that might not be too bad actually. Ooh. Ooh, interesting. Okay, let's look at USDT dominance. So you did get rejected off the zero line, got above it slightly, but you got rejected. So that all but confirms that a move to the upside for the recent for the next couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks, is likely, right? The fact that you got rejected off the zero line, you're continuing your move on USDT dominance, which is basically the percentage of the crypto market that's being held in USDT because they got capitulated or they just sold their crypto, they're holding, they're waiting to DCA or repurchase. Yeah, so this is most likely going to tell us that we're going to revisit our dynamic reactor soon. And by this point, I'm probably going to want to bounce or at least short the rest of the market. What's that volume profile you're using? I'm glad you asked. So this is the bar magnified volume profile fixed range by ChartPrime. So it's a free indicator, care of ChartPrime. Let's see. Yeah, so open source, updated 3 years ago. God, I almost said 2 years ago. It's been 3 years, March 25. It's one of the interesting stuff in our library. So what's cool about it is you can set the look back period. So if you just use, because I came from your typical VRVP, right? Your visible range volume profile. That thing gets a little bit, like it's wonderful, but gets a little bit annoying when it keeps changing. At least here it's fixed. It's better for analysis in my opinion, and you can modify the look back period to suit your needs. So yeah. And yeah, you can also change the color as needed. Yeah, hope that answers your question. Oh, I did not mean to draw that. Yeah, you're very welcome. Let's go back to that's not fun. Uh no. Maybe that would have been a great short there, but we are losing bearish trend strength. Yeah. There is a chance that it still continues up, but it's probably unlikely now given the fact that we are going to get that close. How about Bitcoin? Yeah, kind of unlikely now. Bummer. Although the short was it a short or a long? The long I signaled yesterday reached the first take profit, which is cool. Yeah, kind of spot on too, but this really threw me over here. It is what it is. We gotta move on. Can't dwell on things. We are getting a goose. Maybe not. Oh yeah, we're getting a goose kind of thing on the 5 minutes for Bitcoin. So this idea, probably invalid still, and I don't like the look of that candle. It's basically a really long wick, and it's just red. Now you can close, right? You can close green, but you still have 38 minutes on the clock. So this could very much be a fake out or just like a fake move. But if you close like this on the 5 minutes below your reactors again, and you don't get some sort of relief candle like this, then that's basically a guaranteed move for further downside. Back down to maybe the dynamic reactor on the 1 hour, which happens to also be your discount zone, which is pretty cool. But let's see. So the ideas aren't really panning out today, unfortunately. Ooh. Yeah, it has. There are some weeks where it's fairly clear what it wants to do, but I mean, from a macro setting, I do suspect. Oh, I've just been adding more. Man, this could have been a long right here, but it's fine. We can enter on the candle close. Pulse chain? What's pulse chain? Love learning new things. What's pulse chain? Is that a coin? A service? Ooh, interesting. Pulse chain. Oh my goodness. Can you trade that? Or nah? Pulse chain numbers, unique social. Richard Hart. Okay. I'll probably just use my phone to look it up because it's like right here. Hmm. Interesting. Oh, so it's DeFi? Hmm. Interesting. I'll look more into it then. I'll probably research after the stream. I'll look into Pulse Chain. Yeah. Granted, there are technically uh, a lot of different coins that compete with ETH. Okay, so looks like we got that move. How's Bitcoin? That is Bitcoin. Oops. Uh, I meant render. Doesn't want downside, so that's fine. Uh, I think what we can do, I'll do like a small long like this on Bitcoin. Still a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Uh, and yeah, let me look for. Oh, this is a ascending triangle. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'll do something like this. Let me grab a fib so I can do a retracement. Up to here. That's 7429. Let me go post it. But yeah, I'm also going to So this will be invalid if it reaches the first take profit first. Oh, okay, it's already okay. Alright. My goodness, I haven't even entered yet. I'm gonna do. Oh no, that's just yeah. You know what? Just leave it there. 72k. Where's the hotspot again? Five. Oh no, this could capitulate actually. We could enter lower, take advantage of this by going market. Yeah, I'll post it when the candle closes. Go from there. How's a 30-minute doing? Oof, that doesn't look fun. Worst comes to no. This is gonna capitulate down. Yeah, no, cancel. We probably should short this actually. But then if it leaves a long wick like this, it likes to fill quite a bit of it before it continues. Okay, hold on. Took a 30-minute 4-hour time frame. Actually, if it leaves, no, you feel. Oh my goodness. Okay, 1%. So 0.7%. Yeah, that would be first take profit actually. Yeah, you know what? Go back to the 5 minutes. We didn't fall below it. I'll take it actually. I'm gonna go market on this. Oh, render. Man, that could have been a great short. It could have been a great short. Gold. Actually, let's go back to kind of paralyzed right now. Like long term trades are fine, right? I'm long on the at 62, but currently kind of wild. Not liking, or we could long here, right? This has been holding up as support, and the 15 minutes would go oversold, but it's also on its way to oversold here at this trend line. Although a touch of the dynamic reactor wouldn't hurt anybody. If we look at from like a 12-hour perspective, this looks more like a potential retest than it is a, oh shit, we're falling. Yeah. Okay, I think what I'll do is, given that there's still 30 minutes on the show, I think what I'll do is probably a long position here. Put the stop loss below the discount, something like this. Just get the 15 minutes oversold. We can even potentially enter here. I think that might be smarter. So we're doing a swing rather than a scalp, which is kind of funny. Something like this makes sense. And then, yeah. I'm actually kind of happy with that. Yeah. I think this would make sense. Which means, oh, well, it's already on its way. So yeah, let me change this. And then let's get a fib here to get an idea for the first take profit, which is probably going to be at 69,974. Alright, I gotta remodify this. Yeah. But yeah, I think this will play out. Okay. It's bouncing, but I do think 30 minutes wants to push it down. Alright, what time is it? 10:37. Let me change that. Yeah. Okay. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll let this play out. But yeah, this is what I'm looking for at the moment. let me remove the fibs. So again, my rationale for going long, right, is let me change this to a higher time frame, 12 hours. So stuff like the 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour do want downside. Oh my god, why is it the same? Okay, but higher time frames like our 12 hour, 1 week, I think even the 1 day want upsides. So we're looking at places where it's likely for price action to bounce. If we enter right here, which is the 15-minute discount, it's also the 1 hour dynamic reactor. Stop loss right below support. And we can get a push to the upside, which would allow us to squeeze into this prime block, potentially even get to our upward targets, where I do have a short at about the 12-hour dynamic reactor at 75k. So another reason for why I do want to set up longs for now is because of just the 2022 sentiment. Now, of course, shouldn't be doing things solely based on history, but again, I do want to emphasize March of 2022 and the Feb to March did see a push to the upside of about 30%, right? If we draft the point at which we got our bullish divergence and peak bottom, which is over here, like this top right here, right, happened in January 24, about a 30%, about a 30% move, right? Let's draft where we got our bullish divergence, which is about here, here. Right, we did have a wick, so that's fine. This is my conservative estimate going to 80k, but this chick magnet here is not that far off from getting to about 29% earlier. So I do think there is upside up until we get to this point and capitulate further. So I'm looking for a push to the upside and then a further capitulation. Yeah. Let's look at other coins. So Render did fall, so unfortunate. That would have been a great scalp short. Is what it is. See how Bitcoin's doing. So it's now at 69,522. Still got 19 minutes on the show. So if anyone has questions or anything, just let me know. Let's see who else is here. Selmit, welcome. Hey, Techbo, welcome. It's been a while. How have you been? Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Probably should put some ointment. Hey. Glad you were able to make time. How's work been at the airport, was it? Have you noticed anything drastic ever since the war broke out? Yeah, I see Shell's typing, so I'm just gonna wait for it. Scalp is definitely more of a short-term trade, right? Scalp shouldn't last longer than like 2-3 hours. For some people, scalps like literally just I'm in and then 5 minutes later I'm out, or like 15 minutes later I'm out. So that's a scalp, and then a swing is you're going to stay in that position for at least 4 hours. It's intraday. It could also be intraday, so it goes across multiple days in a week. So really just think of it as swing, very quick, short term. Oh no, sorry, scalp, very quick, short term. A swing is medium term, and then a position is like a position trade is a long term leverage trade. Yeah. I hope that helps. So when I say this is gonna be a swing, I expect that we stay here for like a couple hours. Yeah. Must be a little stressful at the airport, I assume, right now. Although, to be fair, when is it not stressful at an airport? Now that I think about it, when is it not stressful at an airport? Yeah, this would have been great. Ah, this could have this could have been great. Yeah. Though, could when you miss the move down, it opens the potential for a move up. So I'll be watching this area right here for render. Stop loss a little lower, right? I'm gonna watch this with great interest in a while. See how Bitcoin's doing. So almost touched entry, hasn't touched it yet. Uh, Good chance it does in a bit. Let's go to the 1 hour and then 5 minutes. Yeah, so 5 minutes is oversold already. Got the smart target. We're actually entering at the discount. Excuse me. I said, ooh, turn the lights off. Yeah, that song's stuck in my head. No, I think this is gonna push further down. Ooh. Wait. Very technical. 200 EMA. Is it 200 EMA your blue line or red line? Oh, I just realized my MVP ribbon's gone. Ah, oh, come on. Go lower, please. Come a little bit lower. It's fine. You can do it, BTC. No, really? 69,419. It could get rejected at the point of interest though. Could be like a dead cat bounce. Yeah, I mean, if it's the red line, yeah, I do see potential, and that's by your 0.69150, so that would be the 200 MA. Yeah. Um, I mean, don't be shy, but yo, it's not, there's no buts to that yet. It's okay. Uh, for me, no, I don't have that much experience with prime automation. So, but what I do know and what I've been able to understand when speaking about it with the Chart Prime team, of course, is that the bots from Prime Automation work better when there's a clear direction in the market. So, I know the bots were printing a lot when we had the huge drop. Like this move right here, it was printing a lot of gains for a lot of um, for all of us. Well, actually, I don't use Prime Automation, but it was printing a lot of gains at this point. But when we were chopping at this range, it was not printing a lot. So it is still work in progress, and a lot of the strategies there are back tested. I'm just guessing based on being a trader myself, right? And technically, all of us here are traders. That when you do have choppy markets, it gets difficult to trade properly. So I think if you have more questions, you can definitely go to get help. I think Choi and the others are going to be able to help you much better than I did for sure. But yes, that very much a valid concern, and I'm sure there's also been sentiment around the get help section about it as well. Yeah, I wish Dag over here. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to. I was about to press the hug, and if you guys look at the thing later, the the laughing emojis next to the hugging emoji, which is probably not a great idea. But yeah, no problem. Yeah, you can ask and get help. Yeah. Wonder how Dag is doing. But yeah, let's go back. I think, yeah, so it's dropping again. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Touch the point of interest. You could have shorted the point of interest. Oh, damn it. Oh my goodness. But yeah, there's still 11 minutes on the show, so if anyone has questions, just let me know. I'm an open book. Literally, we can talk about things that might not be necessarily crypto related or trading related. Uh, what's something that's going on right now? Actually, let's look at copper while waiting. Or no, something very fun is oil, right? Ooh, oil's back on the rise. This was yeah, it's back to 95. It was at 80, 83 yesterday when I looked at it. So, ooh, fascinating. Okay, let's go to the 1 day for oil. Excuse me. Yeah, so indecision wick drop over here. You left big wicks at the top and the bottom, and now you're found support. Oscillator still wants downside. Chick magnet is at the support at around 78, 78, but it seems as though we want to build on this wick. So the wick over here, right? The wick at left at the top side. That's not the right way to draft that. It's about 22%. So typically when you have long wicks, you do want to build about, or you want to, market makers want to fill about 70 to 90% of that wick. So we're looking at about, what's that? That's 14, and then there's 2% there, so like 14.14. Is it 14.14? I don't know if I can get it close enough. And then 90% of that, so that's like what? 18.18? Can't be right. Damn, my math ain't mathing. Something like this. So a move to this range makes a lot of sense from a if you know wick theory, right? A move to this part makes a lot of sense. And that would also plunge the rest of the world into financial strain, of course. Thoughts on SWI? Ooh, good question. I haven't looked at SWI in a while. SWI is one of those coins that I really do enjoy uh, looking at. Was one of the main cryptos I was holding in 2020, like toward 2023, then I sold when it reached 5, sold half. Thank goodness I did. Because now it's back to bear market. Well, bear market. It was even lower a couple days ago. But yeah, wish I sold more. But it is what it is. Let's go look at swings. Now, you do have diamond trend shifts here, right? Your 12 hour does look like it wants a little bit more downside. Same with your 30 minutes. So if I plot this here, that places you near your point of interest, right? Chick magnet, yeah, that places you over there. But my worry is that if you get to this point, there's really nothing here supporting you, which means that you could continue to capitulate back down to maybe the 618. Kind of risky for me, right? And you did just print a symmetrical triangle. If you close outside of it, you're gonna have downside targets. So I think a swing long at your 618 at 0.8844 makes a lot of sense, because you do also have that gap in your volume profile. Um, but if you manage to stay above this triangle and you push up, then of course, right, take that long. You do have a ton of resistance though, but if you squeeze, which is fairly likely because of just this consolidation right here, if you can squeeze, then this is just going to be a very quick move back to the dynamic reactor on a 12 hour. Yeah, I'd say 82 is a decent stop loss. It's below this candle right here. Lots of room as well. But like with all other coins, I do suggest not staying in past the first week of April. Not only I know saying, oh, it happened before as a reason is kind of weak, right? It is statistical, but it's kind of weak. Let's be honest. It's a little weak. But the point is, uh, first week of April, succeeding weeks of April, we're going to get more data, right? We're going to get US CPI for the month of March, which is going to be fairly horrendous, I feel, because of oil prices, but also how that influences, because economic data lags by a month, and given just the multitude of factors, it's going to be hard for even the most seasoned economists to accurately predict an expectation. So I'm not confident with April, not only from a historical perspective, but also contextualized in the fact that there's war, there's oil increases, and everything uses oil. So it's what it is. Yeah. All right. Man. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but over here, we have oil usually increases on a Tuesday. So Monday evening, every gas station I knew was just flooded with cars. There was like 40 cars, a single gas station, then the other one. They're all just waiting to get gas. Couldn't imagine being being in line with 40 cars in front of you. Especially if you're running on premium, because only like a few. Shoot, what do you call those? The whole thing is a station. Do you call the pump? Well, only a few pumps within a station had premium on them, and the rest were like regular. It's crazy. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think we can get our move to the downside. Gas islands. Oh man. Okay, 3 minutes left on the show. that's a good question. No, I don't know anyone else. I know Bravo students have their own channel. I'm not sure if they actually get funneled into Chart Prime. I feel like they do, but they kind of keep to themselves a little bit. So I don't know uh any people who are using the buy and sell signals on the Bravo kit. And with the Bravo kit, I really just use Chick Magnet and the whale supports. So yeah. All right, take care, Maxi. Yeah. I'll be here again tomorrow, same time. So if you want to drop by, feel free to do so. Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, your Bravo crew. I just realized that. So 9:30 EST. So right now, so that's like an hour and 28 minutes ago. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So you guys get funneled into the Chart Prime server, but then you have classes with Bravo, right? Am I correct in my understanding of it? For context, um, and transparency as well, I am a analyst contracted by Chart Prime. So in terms of like the operations, collaborations, I'm not fully knowledgeable on those things. So Chart Prime just contracted me to trade with you guys and give signals as well. Oh, okay. You know what? We got a lot of Bravo crew here. That's cool. Oh, so fun. By the way, Hemdroid, you have a very cool DP. Reminds me of shoot. Reminds me of Dobby from MHA, if you know MHA. Yeah, very cool. But yeah, still got 1 minute. I do think if it closes like this, oh, it already closed. Yeah, you can possibly push back down a little bit, go up. So I'll leave that long there for now and see what happens in a while. But you know what? Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Well, um, this morning for some of you. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 9:30 a.m. EST. And if there's any developments for this trade, I'll just send updates and other potential signals in my chat. So with that, once again, I am Langstrom. Thank you for joining me. And don't forget to always use a stop loss. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. You too. Have a great day, everyone.